So, the dust has finally settled on Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. I still really hate that title. And it's time to tackle somewhat of a talked about point of the film. Was Gohan finally redeemed? This is going to be a bit of like a fence sitter response to that question. But genuinely, it depends on your own personal taste and what exactly upsets you about Gohan. Me personally, my own personal opinion, just all clickbait aside, 30 seconds in to answer this question, no. But it's a step in the right direction. Certainly nothing too offensive happens in regards to Gohan in this movie. That being said, I certainly say it depends because, again, it just depends on what exactly you don't like about Gohan in the modern day. If you're just someone who genuinely, in your heart of hearts, loves this character and loves seeing him do cool things and be in the spotlight, then yeah, it's probably enough for you. Because in the end, he gets a cool transformation and he gets his cool moment and it's all fine and dandy. And for all intents and purposes, he's like the co-main star of this movie. But if you're someone more like me and you're someone who shares some of the gripes that I shared in my The Moment Gohan Was Ruined video, which by the way, you should go watch that, even though my charisma is sorely lacking in those videos from like a year ago, but my charisma isn't all the way here all the time now, so I guess I can't criticize my past version too much. Anyway though, the major point I made in that video was my problem with Gohan was not that he stopped training or that he no longer was the center of attention. It was that in the Buu saga, in that very moment that I specified, it felt very offensive to make us go through all that and lead us to think that Gohan was gonna do something and be important when he ended up not being important. I wouldn't say lie to, because that feels a little over dramatic, but misled is maybe the word I want to use. I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly how I feel till this day enough to put it into words. But the point being is the direction that Gohan's character took was certainly somewhat disappointing as a fan of him. But I'm not super critical that he doesn't want to be this super powerful martial artist in the vein of Goku or Vegeta. The problem was pretending that he was going to end up being that when he wasn't, and seemingly injecting him into the story just to have him fail. Yeah, fam, that got me kind of hot. And then going and solidifying that role as a character who's just going to be injected into the story to be smacked around in the vein of like a Yamcha and a Tien now when Resurrection of F happens and he just gets swatted down with ease by Frieza. Is kind of gross, fam. But the much major issue in my opinion is we have no idea what Gohan's conflict internally really is these days. And when I say that, by no means am I saying a character needs an internal conflict, especially in a series like Dragon Ball. There isn't something that these characters need to overcome internally in themselves each and every time they fight. I said this in the video where I basically just recapped and kind of gave my personal thoughts on the movie. We ain't coming for Dragon Ball for just like deep complex writing. A lot of us are just here because we got hooked as kids and now we're invested and we're fully willing to just have some great animation, turn our brain off and see the characters we grew up watching do cool stuff. But weirdly enough, it seems like the series wants to keep alluding to Gohan having some sort of internal conflict, and that could be because when he was at his peak, many would consider, during the Cell Saga, he did have that pacifist internal conflict in having to justify and push himself not only physically but emotionally. So maybe Toriyama or Toritaro or whoever is at the helms of Gohan and making the big wig decisions is like, nah, he needs an external conflict. He needs something that he needs to work through, because they certainly referenced that, not super heavy, but lightly, when he was getting back in shape with Piccolo for the Tournament of Power. And Piccolo talked about, your overconfidence hurts you. It hurts you in the battle with Cell, and it hurts you in your battle with Boo. And in response to that, we saw a very, very serious and determined Gohan in the Tournament of Power, despite the fact that his elimination didn't leave too many fans super excited, at least in terms of the anime. The manga variation of how Gohan exited wasn't as disgruntling, at least in my opinion. But regardless, I think most of us will agree that if that was the big closing act to Gohan's internal conflict about being overconfident, it wasn't the greatest climax to that character development. But even then, that's still fine. I'm not looking for a great over-the-top moment. So I guess that leads to the bigger, broader question is, what would redemption look like for Gohan? In my personal opinion, of course. I don't need anything crazy. I don't need him to be in Goku's spot of like the Deus Ex Machina of the story, or like defeat some big baddie as the world's ending on a doomsday clock, or anything like that. I just want to see Gohan essentially complete what was being set up in the Buu saga. That being, he steps in, he takes care of a situation without him having this build up or his training arc or knowing what's gonna come. He's just already prepared. He's been training for this moment, with his only motivation for training is to be ready if something were to happen. He steps in, he holds it down, and that's that. He doesn't get overconfident or anything like that. He doesn't even necessarily need to win. He can just put up a good fight against whoever that baddie is. Maybe that baddie being like the new nigga Frieza I'm hearing about. No, on a serious note, yeah, just he's been training on his own. No one's had to drag him out and force him to train. I say no one. Piccolo's the only one that really does that. Piccolo hasn't dragged him out and forced him to train or anything like that. He's doing it on his own. When his back gets pinned up against the wall, he doesn't need some speech about how much potential he has and how he can be the strongest person in the universe. None of that, fam. Just through his own will, his own determination, all inside his own body, brain, he just manifests into someone who is an outstanding martial artist and someone who is a powerhouse in the series. And it does feel like the movie stepped in that direction, but a few things here and there, like one, I personally don't feel like Gohan was in the movie enough for me to feel like he was redeemed of these things. It was more so Piccolo doing all like the heavy lifting. And two, while it was cool to see him do the special beam cannon and be like, I was working on that, that wasn't really training. That was him game planning one technique. And I think it proves that when, you know, Piccolo put the armor on him and he really couldn't stand in it for a little bit. I think that shows that. And again, Piccolo had to give him the speech about his potential and all that jazz before he could go Gohan Beast or Beast Gohan or whatever we're calling it. I think redemption for Gohan comes in the form of him stepping into a situation that he's not prepared for and him taking over that situation without having someone pat him on the back first. And I think Dragon Ball Super Heroes, God, I hate that name, sets that up perfectly. I can definitely see somebody coming in and Gohan not necessarily being powerful enough to defeat him, but Gohan kind of holding his own, and then Goku and Vegeta finally get there and they're all stunned and shocked by his new transformation, and everyone's so proud of Gohan because he finally held it down on his own without needing anyone to pat him on the back or tell him he has so much potential, that he's the greatest. He was training on his own. He conquered this new power on his own in his own unique way, and he just did it all on his own without having any of those internal conflicts or issues, right? And then we can recreate the moment from Fighters where Goku's like, man, I'm finally proud of you, Gohan. You know, I just want that. I think that's true redemption. Again, the movie wasn't necessarily offensive, and I definitely do think what happened in that movie definitely can be a form of redemption depending on what you didn't like about Gohan and what you wanted to see. Just me personally, I wanted a little bit more, just a little bit more, and hopefully when/if this magical return of Dragon Ball in series form ever comes, we will get that from Gohan, but only time will tell. And that's the end of this video. I swear, no more Dragon Ball for a while. I just wanted to make this video. I wanted to make it pretty much immediately after I made the recap / review / thoughts thing I did. But to be honest with you, as I sat down and started writing and thinking about it, I was like, I need to sit on this a little bit more, because I was really on the fence about whether or not I thought this did enough for Gohan's character on like a deeper, more meaningful level, not just Gohan fans haven't got anything to cheer about in a while and we finally got something. And so it took a little longer than I really wanted it to, but that's it. I'm done with Dragon Ball for like the time being. Back to our scheduled programming. If you did make it this far and you are interested in what videos I have planned out, I have a few Baki videos. I'm waiting for that new season to come out whenever that finally comes out. I have a few Baki videos. I of course have the greatest in anime series. I have a few character analysis that I want to do, so some greatest in anime videos coming out. Yeah. I also have 1 or 2 weird anime videos, and I also want to review the Tekken anime. So it's up for me in terms of content. I got a lot on the way, so if you are someone who is newish to the channel, welcome. If you are someone who are just seeing me for the first time and you decide that, hey, this guy's pretty cool, I'm a sub up and check out his future videos, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. If you are still on the fence, I make videos of this quality or better all the time, so subscribe, man. Oh, you guys see how I wove in my little outro there? I'm getting slick with it, bro. I'm getting nice with it, my nigga. But anyway, I'm out of here.